So are you ready with the solution of the test on general clauses and interpretation of statutes? Well, students, if you are watching this video for the first time, we are doing a test series on all the acts of CA, intercorporate and other laws. Up till now, we have discussed the test papers for Contract Act, Negotiable Instruments Act. If you have missed any of these tests, then I'm leaving a link in the description, as well as over here. Just click on the I button and you will be directed towards the playlist. You will find all the revision lectures and the test paper solution discussion with marking scheme for all the acts which we have discussed up till now. I have done two separate videos, one for general clauses and other for interpretation, but I'm giving you one test for both. Okay. So after watching the revision video, you will attempt the test paper. The question paper is uploaded on my website theorymasterslearning.com, as well as on my Telegram channel. The link is in the description box. So you can download the question paper, attempt it on your own, and then compare your solution with this model answer. You can also check your answers and give yourself marks. I'm leaving a marking scheme also. So let us discuss the solution of General Clauses Act and interpretation of statute. 20 marks paper, time given was 35 minutes. I hope you were able to complete in that time. Referring to the provisions of the General Clauses Act, find out the day or date on which the following act or regulation comes into force. Act of Parliament which has not mentioned a particular date. And SEBI, okay, in its regulation, it was issued that the act which notification dated 14th of August, the act will come into effect from 1st of January. So you have to decide what is the date on which the act will actually come into force. So if the date is not mentioned, then it will be the date on the act will be assumed to come into force on the date on which it receives the assent, the consent of the president. And if it is published in the official gazette and that date is available, so instead of the president, you will say that the act comes into force on the day on which it is published in the official gazette. But since that is not given, so you can write the date on which it receives the assent of the president. But official gazette point can also be mentioned. For this, you will give yourself 2 marks. The breakup will be half mark for writing the definition, 1 mark for writing the provision, 1 mark for giving solution. Okay, I exceeded the marks, just a minute. The provision will be 1 mark and writing this part will be 1 mark. Okay, so it will come into force on the day on which it receives the assent of the president. And if the official gazette, this also you can write, if the date of publication in the official gazette is given, then we will consider that day. If in the act they have if in the notification they have specified the date on which the act comes into force, then it will come into force on that particular day. So here they have mentioned that it will come into force on 1st of January, then that will be considered as the day on which the act comes into force and not the day of date of notification. 2 marks for writing all that. What is document as per the Indian Evidence Act? I had discussed this when I was discussing interpretation of statute. So definition given in the Indian Evidence Act 1872, it's just a theory question actually. So a document is paper or material thing giving information, proof or evidence of anything. The law defines document in a more technical form. As per section 3, document means, now we will give marks. So section 3, half mark. Document means any matter expressed or described upon any substance by means of letters, figures, marks, intended to be used or which may be used for this purpose. So 1, 2 and a half mark and half mark for writing example. So this is the distribution of 3 marks. I'll highlight the keywords which I am expecting you to write. I am expecting you to write section 3. To write the word matter, I am expecting you to write upon any substance by means of letters, figures, marks, or more than one means intended to be used or which may be used for the purpose of recording the matter. That is for half mark. And giving examples like deeds, any words, printed, photographs, documents, they are photographs, they are the examples of documents. So half mark for writing those examples. I'm not discussing it because I've already discussed all this in the revision lecture. I'll leave a link also of the revision lectures over here. Define grammatical interpretation. This is a part of literal interpretation. So grammatical means you will consider the text as it is. First, try to understand. This is like literal construction only. First, try to understand what is written in the act as it is. Even consider the comma as it is. Go as per the grammar. Don't go beyond the letter of law. Don't apply logic. Don't apply interpretation over here. Don't apply your facts, circumstances, logic. Just go as per the written text. If that is absurd, then you will adopt reasonable construction. So grammatical interpretation means it does not go beyond the letter of law. It is sole from form allowable, मतलब जैसा दिया है वैसे का वैसे ही समझने की कोशिश करो. You cannot either add or take away anything from the letter of law. But there are exceptions that if this leads to absurdity, ambiguity, ये तो बहुत अजीब लग रहा है यार. It is inconsistent, it is incomplete. If we try to understand and interpret the text as it is giving us some vague answer, vague solution. Then in that case, you can apply logic, fact, circumstances, or remove those few words which you feel are confusing and then try to read. Does it make sense? If yes, then adopt that meaning. The court is under the duty to travel beyond the letter of law to determine other sources which give a true intention. So in case of statutory expressions being defective on account of inconsistency, they may assert in the spirit of law. Now, how to give yourself marks? The marking scheme will be in this manner, that the rule does not allow us to go beyond the letter of law. Half mark for that. You cannot modify any letter of law. That is for 1 mark. Okay, so total here 1 mark. Then 1.5 mark for writing this point and 1.5 for writing the next point. If the text leads to a result which is unreasonable, that it is self-evident that the legislature could not mean what it has written, the court may resolve to such impasse by inferring logically. So I want you to write the word logical intention. So we will write logical. Okay, so half mark specially for this. Total 1.5. This is total 1.5 for the second point. But half mark if you have written the word logical. So 1.5, that is 3 marks, and 1 mark for the introductory paragraph. So that makes it a 4 mark question. This is a recent exam question. Sohail, the director of a company who is personally not concerned or interested financially or otherwise in a matter of proposed motion before the board, he did not disclose his interest, although he knew that his sister in the proposal had some interest. He made his presumption relying on the rule of literal construction that I am not involved, right? I don't have any interest. Explaining the scope of interpretation under this rule, decide whether the decision of Sohail is correct. He's saying, I don't have any interest, so I need not disclose. Is he correct? Absolutely not. So if you don't have interest, but your sister does, right? So you are in a position to influence her decision. So it should be disclosed. It's a 5 mark question, students. So as per rule of literal construction, in case of disclosure of the nature of interest or concern of a director, manager, we have to interpret this in a broader sense, referring to any concern or interest facts that may enable the members to understand the meaning, the scope, implication of the items of business. Why I put this question in the test paper? Because this answer is very unique. It is not something which we generally study. Okay, so that is why I wanted you to be aware of the answer. If you got this question wrong, don't worry, student. This is like practice ground for us. You can make mistakes over here, but learn from those mistakes. and don't repeat them in the main exam. What if this question comes in the main exam? What if it is repeated, or what if a similar question is asked? That time you won't make this mistake. So this is like your practice match over here. Don't worry even if you get just 50 marks, but don't get below that. If you do, then work hard, but try to aim for maximum. But if you get 50 marks, don't worry, you still have a lot of time to prepare. You have a month. Every day study for 2 hours. Okay, study law for 2 hours, that is more than enough. So as per rule of literal construction, what is desired is a full and frank disclosure. Then we will discuss the case that he did not disclose, he followed literal construction, and in this case, he has personal interest as well as his sister's interest that should have been disclosed. It's a 5-mark question. If I was the examiner, I would give 3 marks for this, 1.5, and no, I would give only 1 mark for this paragraph because it is just repeat of the question. It is just repeating the question, and then 1 mark for writing the conclusion that he should have disclosed his personal interest as well as his sister's interest. Maximum marks for the first paragraph, which says what are the keywords. Chalo, let us highlight the keywords also. First is that in the broader sense, he should have interpreted this. He should give a full and frank review without reservation, suppression. The shareholder has to be fairly informed about it, and all the material facts should be disclosed. So these are the keywords which have to be present in your answer. Done? Then multiple choice questions. I'm sure you must have got all the questions correct. An internal aid that may be added to include something within the section, or to include something that is known as an explanation. To include something or to exclude something, this is nothing but in the form of a proviso. Okay, this explanation is generally given if we feel that the provisions are not very clear and we need to provide some explanation because people may have doubts. So then that is provided. Either you include or you exclude something in the that is through a proviso. Where an act or omission constitutes an offense under 2 enactments, so you can punish him under either or any. You can't punish him twice for the same offense. Formal legal document is an instrument. This is the exact definition of instrument. It's not the definition of a deed. Okay, although both instrument and deed mean the same. Where an act of parliament does not expressly specify any date as to come into force, then yes, it will come into force on the day on which it receives the assent of the president. All right. So in this case, the act will come into force on the day on which it receives the assent of the president. This is mentioned in the act. But yes, it actually comes into force on the day on which it is published in the official gazette. Like the Companies Act, it received the assent of the president on 29th August, but it was notified in the official gazette on 30th August. So the day on which it comes into enforcement will be 30th August. Okay, but in the act it is written that the day on which it receives the assent of the president. So option 1. So 1 mark for each correct answer, and that will give you total of 4 marks. So yes, please total your answers. Please total your marks, and in the description box, do mention the marks that you have scored. If let's say, for example, you have just seen the video but you intend to write it later, whenever you attempt this paper, do mention the marks that you have scored and whether you are finding these test series useful. Has it increased your confidence? Are you now confident about writing? Because that is a fear which many students have, that we don't know what to write, what kind of questions will come. We don't have enough writing practice, so they are low on confidence. So consider these test series as your confidence booster test series, and in the comment section tell me whether it has boosted your confidence or not. Do you feel confident? Yes, so just write the word yes, I am confident, yes, I can do it, in the comment section, and I will be so glad to read that from you. So students, let me take your leave. I don't want to waste a lot of time. You have to study for your exams. In the next video, in the revision videos, we will discuss the Companies Act and then solve a paper on Companies Act selected units. So I'll see you there. But before signing off, do subscribe to your channel, Theory Masters Learning, and hit the bell icon so that you get notification for the next test series paper discussion. And also visit my website, theorymasterslearning.com for books, lectures, test series, and compiler, which has all the past exam questions, study material, RTP, MTP questions. Most of the paper will be from that book only. So I'm leaving all the links in the description box, and I'll see you in the next video.